Hello and welcome to another episode of Perkasie Business Chat. Today my guest is Nick Prosseda of Male Barbershop. Morning, Nick.
Good morning, Joe. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm waiting for my appointment with Shane one of these days. I don't have much, but what I do have, he does a great job with.
All right. Well,
sooner the better. And I am taking your advice. Don't cut your own hair, right? That's the worst thing anybody can do.
It's all we're saying to everybody right now.
I've seen some disasters out there, so heed Nick's words. Nick, tell us where you were with evolving the Modern Male brand before the pandemic and before the shutdown hit.
So trajectory this year was we have 4 shops and a school. Because of the school, we were looking to do another 3 locations. Maybe one will happen. We don't know. Unfortunately, things have come to a dead stop, a halt in construction. We are hoping that the Doylestown location will go through. And the day that we got shut down, I think it was like March 13th or 15th was that Monday, I submitted a use and occupancy application to the Borough of Doylestown.
So you were that close to opening there.
Yes. So we're hearing that they're getting back in the office, and we're kind of pushing on where we stand with that one. But we have the school now in Lansdale. Me, my brother, and Jake run the school, and we're producing barbers now. We're training barbers. We're growing the kind of the little empire of barbershops, and school's on hold right now, so we're not allowed, obviously in the school, in the building. We've been doing Zoom meetings, which has been good, better than not, but it's scary, right? This like I was saying before, the lot of challenges in things coming to a dead stop, and I was just dealing and battling with some, darker days, a little angry, very frustrated, little self-pity of just why is this happening? And I had this agenda for 2020 and was just doing some soul searching, some prayer, and had to come to a few inner pieces that this is life. It's not just my life. It's a lot of people that have been affected. And instead of focusing on what we thought we were going to do and why is it not happening, now it's how do we bounce from this? How do we bounce back from this? How do we make Modern Male better for the patron? How do we make the customer experience better? There's a lot of people who are cutting hair in their garage. They're cutting hair in their basement. They're unlicensed, and we are majorly trained in infectious control. It's the first chapter 4 in our book that our students are trained on. So, we're going to make the consumer aware of what they should be looking for. What's Barberside? What does it look like? How should a station be presented to them when they approach that station at one of our barbershops, and having a license displayed and certificates displayed in their infectious control training. So we've been more focused on the back to work program, and how do we, we're talking, we have an A, B, and C plan. And once Governor Wolf's office releases us, we're going to execute one of those plans pending. And within 48 hours, we're going to let our patrons know and, grow from there.
Wow, that's amazing that you really turned the corner from feeling down and out about the whole thing. And you've really turned the corner as how we're going to make it better when this does come back.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
It's scary. It's hard. I mean, I'll be very transparent with you because I received PPP money, and I have to give it back, 100% of it, because it does not work for us. I'm a sole proprietor. I don't receive a paycheck. I was doing a draw, and because of that, I cannot receive any of the funds. My employees are on unemployment, and to give them the PPP money and then it run out in the 8-week window frame that you have to pay your employees, they would have had to reapply for unemployment. And as a leader, I had to make a very hard decision over myself, my organization, and make sure that 20 plus people are protected and not led to the slaughterhouse financially. So I made a decision to allow them to stay back on unemployment, where they wouldn't have to reapply. We're number 5 in the country for unemployment right now. So my guys would have not gotten back on unemployment and missed out on a lot of mortgage payments, rents, car payments, feeding their kids. And then it would have forced them to potentially go underground and cut hair in people's homes and
Right.
cut hair in the garage. And, for 3 weeks, like I said, it was a very, very dark time, very challenging, a lot of stressful phone calls, a lot of stressful decisions to make. And, the weight of that, as an owner, is, my number one priority is my people and making sure that they're safe. If they're not safe, then we're not going to have a healthy environment to go back to, and our patrons aren't going to have that either. So, it's been challenging, but again, it's how we handle that and what, I want to come out of this with victory and say, and look back at the end of COVID-19 within reason and said, I did the best that I could and didn't just give up even in that journey of imperfection and struggle. We came out okay, and we came out better.
Good. That's what we want to hear from people, is that optimistic view, looking forward instead of looking backward at things that you couldn't control, totally out of your control. And now you're gonna put all your experience, all your creative thinking to bear to make it a better situation when you do come back. I saw a video that you made on Facebook the other day where you were pretty passionate about how you and your barbers are absolutely trained in infectious control and keeping people safe. Talk a little bit about the things that you can do and will do when you come back.
So again, a lot of stuff going on in the country. Barbershops are opening. I have 8 different states, Georgia, Florida, their proposal plan to go back. So we're studying all that. We don't know what's going to allow us to go back when safe is safe, and we don't have to wear masks and we don't have to wear gloves. But in the meantime, our plan is to 100% make sure that what we were doing, again, in the control of infectious disease, we're just going to elevate it, spraying our tools down between each and every single client, wiping our seats down between each and every client, sweeping, washing our hands. All that is the hygiene. We probably will be wearing masks. We may be taking digital temperatures with our, we just invested over $1,000 in thermometers. I mean, we're spending money on PPE. I just ordered 100 gallons of Barberside. I mean, you're talking, numbers that I hope that we use it. And it's not like, well, hey, you don't need that, so, you could return it. It's a little scary. Our capes. Right now, I have capes in a Ziploc bag, doubled up, that they're 100% clean. So now, you pull a cape out when you're going to cut a patron's hair. So, nothing's going to be used twice. Disinfectant of 10 minutes per tools. We're buying ultraviolet lights and putting our tools underneath those lights to kill the bacteria. There's a lot of things that we have already been doing, but again, we're really going to be, quality control and really monitoring and making sure that our barbers are on board, and they are. Again, we have to protect the public.
I mean, they're your clients, they're the people that are your future. So you definitely want them to have a confidence level that what you're doing is the right thing.
Yeah, and Joe, here's the one thing that is a bit, just upsetting is that, again, our industry is safe. And in Pennsylvania, there's a bit of a black eye on hairstylists, nail salons, and barber shops because of that social distancing gap. I don't want to get into my quarrels or my things that are making me upset in a sense, but this is what I know. Chapter 4 is the number 1 first chapter, and it's reiterated throughout the 10 and a half months that a student would be at the academy, right? Now, 4, infectious control principles and practices. Why study infectious control principles and practices? Meet the current regulations for health and safety, understanding the principles of infection, prevent the spread of disease, follow standard precautions to protect you and your clients, follow safe work practices and safety precautions. We're CDC regulated right now.
Yeah, it sounds like you're already there.
Yeah. So does that mean that you have to be within a certain distance? Yes, but you put a mask on, you put gloves on, we're washing our hands. You're not using the same implements unless then they are disinfected properly. The capes, nothing's touching each other more than once. We're safe, we're more than safe to come back. And this is the safest environment for people to receive those services. So, we're ready. We're waiting. Another thing too, coming out of this, there's no excuse for time. Right now we have time, and there's things that I've been putting off on the back burner. So I just recently started a podcast, and I am in the midst of writing my first book on barbershop entrepreneurship, how to, the how I got to where I was, the running the book or running the business. It's been something that I've been wanting to do for barbers in the United States or across the world. I get questions all the time. How do I have what I have? How did I get to where we are? And I'm going to write a book about it. And inform these other young barbers to not make the mistakes that I made. And when they open up their first shop, to get the liability insurance, to get the trademark lawyer, to get the lawyer, there's things that I'm like, ooh, that cost a lot of money. Shouldn't have done that one. So I hope that people can avoid some of these pitfalls in my industry, especially. So a lot of good things that are coming out of this. And, we just gotta, we got to fight through it. It's challenging, every day. And that's the biggest message I want people to hear, is to continue to be positive. And I have a gratitude journal, and every day I write one or two things in that journal in the morning. And there's days when I don't feel like it. I don't feel like writing, and I'll write something like, wow, it was a joy to hear my daughter's voice laughing this morning. It was a joy that my wife, made tea this morning for me before I got up. There's those things are priceless. You can't pay for those things. So, a lot of soul searching for all of us.
Well, it sounds like it has paid off in a way that you're in a pretty good place, personally and as a business. So that, as you said, when the governor gives the all clear, within 48 hours, you're going to be back and in operation, correct?
Yeah, we're waiting. As of right now, we're not in the yellow, so everyone is calling us and, oh, you guys are going back June 4th or June 5th, and that's the yellow. So I've been on the phone on Zoom with General Surgeon Levine, in Wolf's Cabinet, literally what we're doing right now, and we're trying to prove and prove our case. Our consensus that we're able to go back to work. And she's just very adamant about that social distancing. So she is becoming more educated about our industry. She's learning more. She's open to, we have another meeting with her next week. I've been on the phone with PA Board of Barbering and some of my local legislation and state reps. And we are fighting for our case to be heard about, again, how safe it is for people to come back and be in the barbershops.
That's great news to know that somebody's out there advocating for you and for the barbers across the state to get back to work, because we all need it. We all need it. Look at me. Come on. Nick, this has been great. I really appreciate your insights, and to know that Modern Male is ready to come back stronger than ever, maybe, when this
it's going to be better, baby.
Happens.
It's going to be better.
Good. So let's end on a good note. I've been asking all my interviewees to either tell me a funny joke, to sing a couple lines from their favorite song, or do an impression of a famous person. Now, you told me you have the perfect joke for these days. Let's hear it.
I do. So this is a joke an old Thai barber told me, and I do think that in what's going on today, it is a bit funny. So, it's a barber joke. So a local police officer goes into the barber shop. Barber's cutting his hair and says, you know what, Frank, don't worry about it. It's all me today. Really? Yeah, I just want to say thank you for your service. Okay. The next day he goes in there and there's a dozen donuts on the doorstep. Officer drops him off, says thank you. Cuts hair that day, cuts the local florist. Cutting the local florist. Hey, you know what? Frank, don't worry about it. The haircut's on me. I appreciate your business and always, having us look good with our flowers smell good. Next day he goes in there and there's a dozen roses on the doorstep in the morning. Oh, wow. Great. Thank you. So cuts hair that day. One of the local politicians is in there. He gets a haircut. And he goes, you know what, Jimmy, don't worry about it. The haircut's on me today. Really? Yeah, don't worry about it. I really appreciate what you're doing. The next day, there was 10 more politicians on his doorstep for a haircut. I'm sorry I had to say it.
That's a good one. We won't Craig Stats don't take offense to that if you see this, okay? You're one of the good guys.
There's no political agenda behind that, right, left, up, down, whatever. But,
Excellent. Well, that's a good way to start the day. I appreciate it. Nick, thanks for taking the time.
Say hi to everybody. We're on Instagram.
I will. Be safe. We can't wait for Modern Male to be back and all those cool events that you do.
Appreciate you, brother. Be well.
Take care.
Talk to you.